No.
Put it down.
On the,
No, I.
Yeah, maybe put it between us.
yeah,
because
because
it's so
of the
close.
door. We'll be having a lovely chat there and then give it to him. Oh, we headphone in this time. Let's go. Yeah, this holiday flew by so fast. I'm actually so sad.
You're on holiday.
Yeah, I took leave for next week too because we're supposed to go back on Monday. But now I'm thinking of extending my leave an extra week as soon as my director
You know
gets
what?
back.
We're young.
Hey.
Oh, there's your favorite.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. You have to
So yeah, my dad and my mom were there. Come say hi. Quickly come say hi because who's there? Mom, Tracy, Surveyor. It's beyond and parents and sister behind their bed and letting Got it? Take a picture. Video. Must I do a video of the intro? One from here. Another one. Lovely stuff.
Put it up.
Must I close this?
Keep it open.
Okay. Look at the headphones.
We just.
Break at 9 p.m.
Okay.
I mean 8 p.m. When you
So if you messaged me to tell me, I said
no, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Okay, Monday is ready.
Thanks. Assalamu alaikum. Yes, welcome to Youth Frequency. Right here on Radio Lanzar live at the Durban Summer Souk. I'm your host, Samir Khan. Well, it's 2026, a new year, fresh. Yes, according to the Christian Golden calendar, not Islamic calendar, but intentions. But let's be honest, same crew, same habits, same choices. Tonight, our conversation is about New Year, same crew, the decisions we carry into the new year, the life choices that shape us, the conflicts we face. We face when we do things and when things go wrong, and the comebacks we make when we fall but refuse to stay down. From friendship that uplifts us or drains us to choices that either bring us closer to our purpose or pull us off track. Well, as you know, Islam religion teaches us that every year, every moment is an opportunity for renewal, accountability, and growth. Mistakes don't define you. Your return does, and setbacks aren't the end, they're lessons. So if you are entering 2026 questioning your circle, your direction, your next move, my youth, my counterpart, stay tuned in. This conversation is about owning your choices, having no conflict with wisdom, and making comebacks that align with your faith and future. Our topic, New Year, same crew, choices, and comebacks. And of course, I'm not doing this conversation alone. Joining me in studio tonight in the proctor are two familiar regular faces with the best vibes on Youth Frequency, our very own Jamie and Liam. They're here to keep it real, challenge the conversation, share insights, and bring that youth perspective we all relate to. So get comfortable, because with Jamie and Liam in studio, This is about to be an honest, engaging, and impactful discussion. Yes, welcome to Youth Frequency.
Thank you, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for being here. We're in the park to buy. It's buzzing outside here at the Durban Summer Souk.
Vibes are high.
Very, very high. I think there's like 2 days left for this fair for the Summer Souk to end. I think thousands and thousands every day enter and walk in. Apparently, there's like over 5,000 people employed.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy. Shout out to the staff at the gate. They're just so helpful,
security.
getting everyone in, everyone safely across the road. Shout out to the staff.
Yeah, and everything is, done. The infrastructure and everything is just trying to accommodate the cars, people, the stallholders, and everyone. But again, before you know it, it'll be 2027 and we'll be having another.
Another
The year
conversation.
just goes by so quick. Well, we have a topic this evening where, when you're moving into the next year, all of us say we're going to change our lifestyles. We're either going to diet, we're going to give up bad habits, or we're going to study more, or we're going to make right choices, regardless of it's a family, career, relationships, whatever. But again, first of January coming just oh, that's for me. A lot of people tend to write all the things down, and then they say, no, they just anonymize it. Jamie, when you hear 2026, think, what's the first thing that comes to your mind for you? Same crew, 2026.
What makes me a little bit nervous, to be honest with you. I hope that if you guys are going with the same crew, it's for the best reasons, because these are people that uplift you and push you as well. And if that's not the case, then I do hope that same crew is not being
Same, if it's bad. If it's bad. I think when you're young and energetic, also, and don't listen to your parents. I'm not saying you don't listen, but sometimes it's so hard for us to decipher if our clique of friends who are good for us, not good for us. And sometimes we have to be not always perfect. Eliam, do you think starting 2026 actually changes people, or do people stay the same unless they choose to change?
I think people get sometimes change of time. They tend to light themselves initially, but sometimes they can fall into the old habits. I think you have to be very, very serious when getting ready to go into the new year. If you are going to make some really meaningful change in your life, you have to be on top of it. But for the most part, the perfect example of this is if you look at Virgin Active at the beginning of the year, every single year it's packed, and then you look at it in May, and you don't see the same
And
faces.
unfortunately, guys, you have to live with that cycle, that 3 2 years.
Yeah.
You're not going. I'm not going.
Even if you want to go all the time, you're gonna wait for crowds.
Yeah. How much do our friends and our circles really influence the choices we make, especially as young people?
So I always say the company that you keep is so, so, so important. And I speak a lot about our mind and how, especially with younger adults or younger teens, you are a lot more likely to be influenced because your brain is not processing every information. So now when you are not younger,
Okay. That is to be really young, in care. You want to be out there, regardless again of your culture or race. That is just you generally. You don't want to be left out. You want to be with everyone. And again, I hope you're doing the right choices. You ever had to outgrow friendship or environment to grow as a person?
Yes. Funny you say that. One of the previous questions something came to mind lines of this. There was a time where I would go with a certain group of friends. So, and some sometimes at the end of the night, I just didn't be feeling ready. I had to take a step back and analyze. Am I people pleasing in this situation? Is something that I need to, because it wasn't behaviors that really, not necessarily like bad in any way, but they just weren't something that I was very much interested in at the performative ones. Until I took some time to realize that if I hold resentment over doing these fun activities post the activities being done, maybe this is not the click for me. Maybe these are the people that I'm hanging out with, it's bringing more problems after the fact than it is. Yeah, so,
But there's so many out there young adults. It's so difficult to come out in it.
and enjoyment.
Yes, for sure. And I think it also
Toxic enjoyment.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it also just comes down to this energy of wanting to follow the crowd. And it always comes back to we talk about social media. They also talk to many there are a lot of things like that
I should have studying and getting things like that, habits, changing opinions, being more serious if I'm working, going to work every day. It's like a lot of young adults. I'm quite amazed when you meet people on businesses and organizations. They say that sometimes they have young adults who call it primal. You know what's primal? On a Friday and a Monday they never work. Primal. Yeah. And they just and why do they work? They're passing by far, and it's like becoming like a trend.
Can't jeopardize the brand.
No, but again, that's it. That's it. A lot of people say it's the different Gen Z or the different mindsets, more relaxed. I know you guys are not like that. But no, but it's been more relaxed. It's like whatever, okay, it's like if you do your job, whatever, you don't produce at work, or whatever, if you're not professional, okay, whatever. It's that attitude.
I think it also comes down to, especially now, when things are financial for young people, they put effort into their employment and their third spaces because it's the way to sort of strain them maybe financially. And people can overdoing it. Now Fridays and Mondays are part of your weekend and not part of the work week anymore. So I think we have to also consider those kinds of aspects too when looking at this like
she ditched us today. She said, let's go shopping. But generally, like I know when experience when we were your age, younger, we had no school shoes. We had to
across the river to get to school.
Yeah. Or like, we had to work so hard. We had part-time jobs when we were still like practically in senior primary and, as young and the sacrifices they made. And then you like think like, come on, like times have changed. But again, are we not so goal oriented? What do you say?
I think we are pretty goal oriented. I think times have definitely changed. And there were a lot of things that were difficult back then that are easy now, but there were also things that were easier back then that have become difficult now, especially financially. People are goal oriented, but sometimes it feels like with the pressures of social media that you need to be super performative about the goals that if you fail, it's a complete failure. I find that young people, specifically now, especially when it comes to setting up goals for the new year, it's easy to become very integrated. Always, around you. So you have to really focus in on the marketing what you're really about. I think once you can align it with yourself in that kind of way, make your goal personal to it becomes a conversation.
We always end up touching on this topic, unemployment.
Yeah.
Youth plans.
I want to find out if you can people moving in. Is there anybody here from Durban? Clap your hands.
you know.
Right, stop.
Yeah, so
Anybody here from
that,
Czech Hands? Clap your hands.
I would officially say that this would be a problem, and in the previous when we spoke about unemployment, we spoke about how it can be extra demotivating to someone finishing school, coming out of the city, this kind of situation where we are constantly programmed for when you're even in school to hear and to know and to understand that they just know there are no jobs. So it's very difficult to even find some sort of motivation to try and do your own thing. And that's not the case all around. But I think that's why I agree with you. They say you have to somewhat find that motivation. You have to be consistent and
Does anybody here?
somewhat aligned to even personal because that's what you're going to do.
exactly, and so it's a different
Did you jump up there?
finding any motivation and
No.
the sacrifices young adults trying to public citizen.
And
Is
so-
it parents so?
Yes, they can pay both positive and negative. In the situation, they can fight with pressure or bad pressure too. I think especially with the really tricky times that we currently live in, parents also need to just be tough on your kids in certain ways, help them with that lessons, but also be a safe space for them in a lot of ways because they are facing things that maybe you didn't even face when you were young. You know, the cell phone's only been around for like the past 20, 25 years or so.
Yeah.
Well, the modern mobile cell phone. So there's a whole new wave of problems and issues that young people have to face. If you walking down with them, the world walking down with them, it's not very
You
motivating.
know, they say if you are born in the 90s, you're like the last generation who lived as a child, okay, without social media.
Kids who climb trees.
Planting, steal mangoes from your neighbor's yard, have that auntie come down the road shouting your fine, feet on the road until you move to the toilet, until you were called home. It was like the same kind of
You knew about stray beans and busted toes.
I never complained.
Yeah.
But what I mean is like, and, you know, I speak a lot of friends and yes, I don't know, but depression wasn't the in thing.
So I feel what it comes down to is that the generations before was just once aware of a lot of the
Deal with it.
health issues.
Chin up and deal with it.
Because if I look at my grandparents and their grandparents, the stories that we hear is a lot of dysfunction, there's a lot of abuse in that, but for them, even hear the way that they talk about it, it's so normal. Whereas we can look at it and fathom, okay, you have anxiety, or okay,
Yes.
maybe you had depression then and you didn't know how to deal with it. So I do think that this generation did come to shake things up, but this is what you can't not be aware of something.
I also think the previous generations were like, chin up, deal with it, you know, like they are big girls.
Toxic
You
positivity.
know,
It's something positive.
in a positive light. People are aware. And there's a lot of activism going on around that. Then there wasn't much, you know.
I still think that people think because this is toxically positive around the mental health space, but they can sometimes also overdo it and it works to their detriment. It becomes the shell of a person that you are, it's complete marshmallow.
Balance. You know, now we think about all the psychosocial factors that influence you, you know, it either makes you or breaks you. What to say is one life choice the youth underestimate, but it ends up having a big consequence later in their life. What would you say? That's one big thing.
I would say that an association that underestimate that a lot. Yes, the youth, but I think people in general. I've heard of things where someone got into trouble, maybe just because they were with someone that was involved in something bad, or because maybe they were associated with that person. So you might maybe not be getting involved in certain things, but if you are associated with, or just if you associate yourself with people like that, people are automatically going to label you as that. We spoke about how those patients don't care as much about what people say. So I agree, but I also think it doesn't think you do have to care because it matters how you engage yourself. It matters how people see you to a certain extent. You can say, oh, I don't care what people say, but if people are looking at you like a murderer, that's really bad.
And you know, at the end of the day, no matter how old you are or young you are, mentioned, we tend to worry about feelings, about emotions.
Yeah.
The other week, your mom mentioned like parents, a mom, dad, even things they feel, you know, so it's ridiculous. Then what would you say?
We don't invest in ourselves. Sorry.
No, I mean like one choice that the youth underestimate today, but later on it affects them.
I think that we don't enough focus on investing in ourselves in terms of education. And this is not me being preachy saying you need to go to university and you need to, but let's say you're a tradesman and you have a craft. You spend 10 years at some point in time, it will be to your benefit to add on another skill in your field of work and continue to progress and scale. Load yourself with these skills because then you make yourself money. Too many times I see people become very content in this space. And this is not judging anyone who's maybe stuck in some sort of trade or job. But they spend their money outside of, or maybe just not survival. It's not even a but they don't invest within themselves and allow themselves to earn more money. Space. I think it's definitely investing in yourself in education.
You know, I'm going to say, also, part-time jobs, university fees, you have to study things. I mean, to go into business, always. But gap year. Because if you have 2 years, 4 years, and 2 years, please be honest about this.
Even for us, those are depending on what kind of community you come from, whether what financial background, you can like the idea of one. If you can't afford it, at the end of the day, you can't afford it. So I think there's a wealthy majority or even a minority that have access to that. Nice for them that their parents can afford that. You know, they can use that to the best of their abilities to figure out what you want to look like. But for a large percentage of youth in South Africa, especially with unemployment, a gap year is not feasible. And if someone is on a gap year, maybe they can't afford it, maybe it's because they can afford studies on it, so they're going to fund that and make something happen.
Exactly, and you know, tuition is crazy, ridiculous. You know, I don't know if you work, I was a bunch of normal working class persons out there who live in university and stuff. It's absolutely hard. So you look at the tuition fees.
Yeah, every year for 3-4 years straight.
Exactly, and a lot of these are private colleges. You know, they're not hardcore old-fashioned church. I'm not, you know, looking at one over the other, but like these are private institutions, and these are ridiculous. So, and then a lot of the learners, even the young adults, I mean, 22, 21, they try to take student loans. You know, and I know some of them when they early 30s have just finished their student loans.
You get before you even got the chance to pay it off, you know?
Yeah, you know, there are challenges. It's not easy, but we got to make it happen. Not to survive.
You must have it.
Hassle, exactly. Why do we sometimes repeat the same mistakes even when you know better? Why? Tell us why. You know, your parents will tell you, your brothers are married at 18 and you want to go by 19 and now you want to do the exact same thing or you want to go overseas or, you know, the trend is everyone's going to Dubai at the moment, Saudi, everyone's going to New Zealand. They just want to go America. They just want to go like, it's a trend. Back in the day, like maybe 20 years ago, everyone's going to UK.
Yeah.
You know, and now everyone's going, hoping everything's right and bigger. And after like 2 or 3 years, they end up coming back down to South Africa and highly depressed, unemployed, and just, you know, trying to make ends meet.
So,
Okay, so you know, why do the youth sometimes repeat the same mistakes, even when we know better, we know that's wrong?
so it's my favorite saying is it was to do but you can't make a change. Sometimes we just do have to learn things the hard way with regards to benefits. It's like how you can't really understand what a teacher is going to describe with you. You have to actually experience it. And I think that comes down to visualization. Also, if you look at the nature of the mind, our brain works in so both taking us to the same thing every day. And so we have to learn. Sometimes it is just that because they've done it. So actually they do have these push into the same situation where they handle it. Because you'll find once they do understand it, they will never ever repeat that same mistake again. So
And but I think it's also like what we want. We want it. We don't care. At that moment of time, we want it. We don't care what. We say we young. We think we know right. We
issue of immediate gratification, especially younger people not having that experience in life. You want it and you want it now. Whatever the cost you're going to pay it, you really pay.
So it's just a question. You rather buy a second-hand car or never buy a
Oh, second and properties. Every single day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and twice on Sunday.
Overmind and overmind. You know, but when you look at it, they like, no, thanks so much. They are offering, the youth, they friends, some of them is just wearing many brands in America, having a really expensive cell phone. And that's it. We made it in life. We made it. We reached 24 and we made it in life. No, it's like, I read something, a guy actually sold a kidney to buy one of the latest phones.
Sure.
Yes. Yes.
Sure was an AI.
No, it wasn't AI, but in Africa. So what I'm saying is like the phone. So among your circle of young adults, so how important is gadgets?
Oh, I mean, so a lot of these things with gadgets and things, just things in general, it's very much so attached to status. And you're standing amongst your peers, so invest in the physical and the material in ways that are detrimental to themselves and their future. And they still have positive standing amongst the peers. You know what? In your life, most of the people almost 50K, almost 50K. Now, imagine you get a guy coming in, whatever, car, don't have a driver's
We
license.
definitely going to do a show on that.
100%.
Someone who was like 25 years old, they told me, no, this is one of my ex-pupils. I'm going to invest in cryptocurrency. I'm going to do this. And I was like, well done to you, bro. You're not good as an educator because, like, generally, it's all about what you see. Lovely hair, lovely makeup, lovely nails, lovely clothes,
The visuals of it.
Exactly. And social media does that.
Amplified.
Excellent. And it's actually a brainwash.
100%.
Like to feel that's success.
Creates these echo chambers for people to understand what is
So
success.
I think it's ridiculous. It's like, like, okay, we're all young at one point. Okay, I will
You know,
focus
that's
on
the outside of that.
when first, the thing that like once you end up on going to depression, you might not see worry about did I enjoy and then we are told now imagine depression sitting you gosh I got I worked so many jobs for that phone. Depression is actually how to move down there. How should young people deal with conflict, especially both friends or family?
this is really, really important. Conflict resolution is something that I feel they are not pushing now. One thing that I want to emphasize is communication. Before that, I would say it's important to know when people and just take the situation, calm down and then come to the situation. And so I don't want to just view it as communication. What I will say is it's important for you to communicate in a way that is respectful, in a way where you can positively say, yes, this is how I'm feeling. Out this per se, you do this, you do that, because that's creating more conflict. So it's about understanding how can I help the situation without causing more stress or more strain. And the only way that you're going to be able to stop and really think about that is if you take that step back. Because if you are really triggered at the moment, you're really emotional, you will cause more conflict.
Exactly. Well, you're listening to Youth Frequency. You're live at the Durban Summer Souk. We'll be taking a short break and we will get back to
Interesting dynamic with the dog and the people. It's quite cool.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not so good, but I couldn't get to see, like, okay, that's baby, that's real. Yeah, like, people in that taking like pictures and stuff.
Yes. The
And
smile.
acting is like a celebrity, it's like in everyone's picture.
You know, you were asking about that thing with people buying phones. I have a friend.
You always said something about the phone. You are going to
It's more linked to status and materialism. But I have a friend.
Yeah.
He's just got it. Just got it.
Yeah.
Hasn't been working.
Oh my God.
And for me, I was like, you know what? Pay enough, treat yourself. You're doing well for yourself now that you're not working. But that's like a big financial
You
no-no.
mention it, but you have to mention names.
No. But I don't want to mention it because it's probably
So
listening.
but
But I think it's wild that yeah,
yes, you can invest that money in 2 years. You can have double that money.
yeah. My thing about it is you don't have wheels or a vehicle for this thing. I work in the field where I replace my MacBook now every couple of years. We get the newest MacBook. I work in this ecosystem, and even my colleagues look at me like I'm strange. I refuse to swap over to an iPhone. I'll use these Samsungs because they're cheap to replace. If anything happens, it's backed up. I can replace it now.
You know,
The fact that you have to insure a phone is wild to me.
like going back, gosh, we all of us want to be best phone. And then like being, I never want to say too much, but like being teaching in a government school, right about 62. So then like they don't bother, and then we have new educators. People are like, okay, giving you an example. They say, oh, your phone is so old, the screen, whatever, so I do this. Oh, no, so I say it's like you change. You're supposed to change in life. If you still have that mentality of someone who's 25, I mean, generally, or someone who's a teenager, then no.
I get you. You know the thing about the cars too, as someone who's chronically
And I think, wait, but think about it. You can get a car, you can get a car, you too can get a car.
sound like Oprah.
And then they never take their car.
Yeah, you know.
Because apparently, I think they had to pay $7,000.
The Beatles, you remember when it came out, it's a brand new Beetle.
I know,
Oprah,
yes.
yes.
But apparently they still have to pay for
Like,
tax back and something.
it was the transfer onto your name. It was that. I remember that. It was crazy.
So a lot of people did not take it because they couldn't even afford that.
When the brand new Beetle dropped, I remember that episode so clearly. I was sitting at Vicky's house.
How old you must have been there?
Because they got 13 or 14.
Yeah, I thought I was in campus.
It was crazy. It was crazy. But that whole thing of cars, like just what cars cost nowadays. And you look at the government, you know why? You know, in Europe, a Mercedes C-Class, for an A4, it's way cheaper than what it is in South Africa because of all our levies and taxes. It's crazy over here. You know what people are spending on cars? House money.
I mean, like, I'm like, oh, nice. That's was 13 years later.
Look at that. Congratulations.
So I bought an Audi. That was my second car. Single. My mom said, "There's plenty of accountants, doctors, and stuff. You're just a single teacher. You drive an Audi." Like no, like what I'm saying is like.
Well, why is that the mentality though, that you have to be an accountant to drive an Audi?
Like you just and then and then like and now what she says is like
it's funny, but as a teacher, we have a Corolla.
He's both parents are teachers. But you know what? I mean, people don't smart. You know what my parents say? Well, you have to flash. No one told you to drive a car. No one told you to dress up like that. The mentality of the older folks.
Especially, but when you're a bit more mature, and then like for young people, it doesn't make sense. Of course, for an elite few, yes, you can afford that because you are making that kind of money. But in general, it's a bad investment if you haven't got your house out the way and all of those.
But you know, when you think of it, for a teacher, listening now, this is teacher mentality. Buy a home.
Yeah.
Invest in a home. Then invest in your cars and start saving for your children. It's
Education.
Like, that mentality. I come from a family of teachers, and like, and that is like if you did all that, like you made it.
Yeah.
You made it. Not so much more.
I know my dad personally, he's pushing me to invest money, and we both been exploring a lot of things. I want to invest in silver. Invest. I worry about gold. Gold is doing well, right? But silver's going to prove. Why?
That's true.
We talk about you. Come join us.
We told you.
Just for 10 minutes, so we spoke about you. We gossiped about you. We spoke about you. We threw you under the bus already. Under the bus.
Under the bus.
Yeah, you were look under mom.
Come, let me stay.
Come on, come join us.
Join us. Come make it.
It took a bit.
Make it stay.
You might pause him if you want.
Both of us are going to sit. You go first and then I'll.
You go next to me. Make it stay, make it stay.
Mom, we're gonna go on now.
Let's go on.
Silver stocks are
Just
being
go
really
on. Say, Mama, big. Mama, big. Hey,
Like we said that. We said we wanted to go shopping. We did shopping. You know,
The WhatsApp is asking for the WhatsApp messages are asking for you. They're asking where are you?
Let's me enjoy it.
no, they want to go on the ride.
somebody wants to go around.
No, I don't think to go on the rides and it's free.
Just go. I want to let them go on the ride. Just go.
I know, I can see. How's the thing?
We won't go on the ride.
You start, just tell me we're done.
Yes, but I'm saying you're on the ride.
We can go back.
I'm waiting for.
We can go back just now. Come just for 2 minutes.
So don't be on the ride. I don't want you to go on the ride.
Wallet.
They agree with the lines.
My daughter went
They
on all
agree
the
on the
rides.
lines.
She's like a adrenaline junkie.
Go.
No, you know what?
So
Let's just
lovely.
Let him clean it.
no more than no.
Sometimes you have to learn.
Waiting.
I can't have a sick child. Eh? You know, I avoid sickness for the children. If you can stop it, avoid it. Avoid it.
Let's put my phone into power saving mode.
And more than this, really be crying with you.
I can phone.
Possibly for mother was standing here, so then it's
Sorry.
Mm.
Look here.
I can taste that meatball from the place.
You smell my chicken tikka.
Yeah, chicken tikka. Oh no, I can't smell. I'm saying.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to your frequency right here on Radio Lansar. Yes, I'm Claire Khan, your host, and we have Liam, Jamie, and yes, Mummy there. We managed to get her. She's enjoying the Durban summer soup. We managed to get her. She's just telling us, smell her hands. She can take out. She's enjoying shopping. She's really enjoying the soup. We did shop. We spoke about you, but you're back on. You know, our topic this evening is New Year, same crew, choices, and comebacks. You know, so did you are going to change anything in 2026?
Nice Mayor, hi everyone. I think I'm done with New Year's resolutions. So what I've done this year is I just said to God, do with me as you wish.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah, I find that the New Year's resolution thing don't really work. You
I
know, you say you want to buy a car, you end up buying a carpet. So
don't say you want to go on diet, but you end up shopping and watching the diet videos. It's reality, right? It's reality. We're human. We're human.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about, you know, the youth. They make silly choices. We hope they'll change for the better, and we're talking about that there. And you know, what does a real comeback looks like? Not in social media, but in real life. You know, let's say now, Michelle, somebody's been going, the youth have been going through some tough times, things are not working out, but they ended up, you know, sort of dealing with their jobs, their careers, their professions, their personal lives, whatever. So what does it mean to make a comeback in the real way, not in social media? Because sometimes they haven't made it, but on social media, they got that 50,000 at home, and they borrowed, they're standing next to someone else's car. But what is it for the youth?
I think everything's a mindset. So I mean, if you didn't make it, if something went wrong, you know, with your job, something went wrong in other areas of your life, I think the important thing is to remember that nothing lasts forever. You know, the difference between an overcomer and somebody who basically ends up moping over the things that go wrong in their lives, you need to be a victor, not a victim. The difference between a victor and a victim is the victor knows it doesn't last forever. So things might have been bad, last year, or even today, but tomorrow they can be better. So you've got to just keep the faith, keep that sort of mindset, and you'll see that too shall pass.
So does this also refer to young adults?
As well, I think the show is doing last number of previous as well. And I'd encourage people to keep on listening in, simply because once we really understand, like I was saying, also the psychology between what gets the parent and the child seeking, then we tend to overcome things a little bit better. Again, it's mindset. So if you know that that too shall pass, if you know that it's growing pains, if you know that the foundation you set has been a strong one, then you will know that eventually your child will over things to keep the faith as soon as it's
Wow, I think parents also need lots of motivation. Sometimes their cup is so full, they are so emotionally drained because they want things to work out in the child's life. The child will be a child always, whether you're 50, 60, 40, 30, 20, you'll still be their child. Exactly. How do you bounce back after a bad year, a bad decision, or a setback? How do you bounce back?
I think the first thing is to give yourself space. You're only human. It doesn't mean now excuse excuses that fall into it even more. But if you're wanting to bounce back, first of all, you've got to give yourself grace to say it's okay that I fell in the first place. If you are not going to do that step, you want to do that step, you're not going to be able to move forward. You are needing to say, yes, it's okay, I'm human and I fell. Now, what is the next step? Then you need to go about it with an attitude of kindness and love. Nothing is going to kill your pace, nothing is going to kill your forgiveness. If you think that you will then now go about it and be mean to yourself and say, oh, I did so bad, oh, I'm so terrible, I'm just this monster, then you're not going to be able to bounce back and you're not going to be able to move forward. So I'd say mainly what it is how you teach yourself and then who you surround yourself with. If you know that you have a good family member or a good friendship, someone who will motivate you and not put you down, surround yourself with that person because that's also going to help you.
And generally, parents of young adults, sometimes it's quite thing. You're young adults, teenagers, they will listen to you, did what they wanted to, and now you have to be damaged. So how can parents, bounce back, after a bad year, a bad decision, how can you bounce back?
As parents, we love our children. So I just want to reiterate and to remind those parents who might have gone through a bad time last year with their kids. Please focus on the love that you give. You see for one, whether they want drugs, whether or not they make their decisions in relationships, or even whether or not they just disrespect to you. It is hard. But I look at my kids and the way that I love them, similar to the way that I know God loves me. And you'll find I always take you back to our beliefs. Because at the end of the day, not is nothing. Not you, not me, not anybody. Whether we think something bad about somebody or whether we just get frustrated in our own relationship, we'll put with our own kids. How many times a day do I think, I'm just going to make him this child, But at the end of the day, God still loves me, He still gives me strength
And how many times parents, a message came in last week, but I'm calling it this week, where said, my child did not listen to me. They're 25 years old, already divorced. I do not want them to know that he was a child. And the guy ran up to the family. And now the parents really wanted to backhand the child. But as you said, as you mentioned earlier on, when the youth or young adults want something, they want it. They don't do it. And parents have to do damage. So it's not easy for the parents. And you also mentioned, we talk about you that parents are also human beings. They have emotions and feelings. And it's so hard for them to be strong for their child. Be strong.
That's what we told you. Because it's almost like something that sounds nice, but I'm going to say, when you feel sick and you puke.
Yeah.
Sometimes your kids do wrong, or if they hurt you, they disappoint you. And as parents, it's almost like we've got to go right back and we've got to fight them. But likewise, I say, we also have progress.
Gina, how many times what character very, very
But just to have I think it's a normal thing when you want to feel considered. We can't fathom what you guys went through, so I can understand.
But then, okay, the dad's gonna hate me. But sometimes they're the favorites. Why? The hardship is, I'm stereotyping, I'm generalizing without giving an opinion. The mom goes extra miles, and the dad is really not stay here. Yes, he said it's the fun parent, the fun parent, the
I
fun
have
parent.
a personal experience with that. We, he would just be with his mouth in the room, and that's what the kids are doing. So I know exactly what it is.
If your child is 30, 25 or 35, well, you is from 15 to 35, that's what happens. That's so happens. One of the really things guys still comes back to it was like a young, it was like parents with a young guy and two daughters, being in their 20s. And the daughter says, Dad, but you said I can take 1,000 and throw 1,000 and then the daddy just said, I never say that. And the mom and the dad, the parents are like maybe in their 60s, whatever. But then again, the dad is the winner, the savior. But I saw the child, the young adult taking from the mother's card, because the mother said, that's my card.
Yeah.
Even though he gave you permission.
Okay, I really like love that's the only days out there that were like my dad. Right. My mom and I during my adolescence years just screamed so much. Because all she wanted to do was like me and all I wanted to do that in my mouth. And the minute my dad come home, my mom would say, do you know what she did? And my dad would like to it. Right? Just close the door, take us down, and hit the bed. And say to me, scream. And I say, I'm sorry. But he was in bed, not me. And he would walk out, close the door, and say to my mother, oh, you empty now. Down to the.
My daughter's only 9 years old, right? And when we have our trip, and my husband looked at me, when you scream at your mother. So you got someone just like you. You got someone just like you. But this is the reality. Regardless, and I always mention, regardless of race or culture, the youth and the parent is a parent. You're still going to do what you want to do, What role does faith, intention, or self-reflection play in making a strong comeback? You can tell us from a parent's point of view. You may be touched a bit on that, and you guys can tell me from.
I only know to come to I mean, without my belief system and knowing that it's God, to turn to, I wouldn't even go into life. I would always encourage me and attention to God, respect to God, because imagine we go through things. There's no book to parenting, and there's no book that a child can read on how to be with your parents. These are natural instincts, it's a spiritual thing. So without God, we can't do it. So I think that is the only way, to survive.
There's a story, I can't remember who told me, an old school gosh, another one goes, oh, just sitting on a pavement. And 20 years later, the same child says, now I'm a wife, I'm going to hear that.
Yes.
Take care. I'm going to talk about her family's problems, health problems, financial problems, a problem for the children. Because if you want to talk about it, you want to talk to the Almighty.
100%. Yeah, the Almighty is the only person who don't tell you to keep quiet.
Exactly.
That you're naked,
Yes, I agree. I would definitely say, thanks the Almighty. As if it is no on things, but when it comes to rules of being a good person, when it comes to rules of how to work in a community together and love and be respectful, there's plenty of religious texts on that, there's plenty of prayers. So I agree, you're looking for that things really build you as a person, that things just make to be okay with life in general. I would say turn to faith. I agree when you say there's no other way.
I think just to add on that, faith and religious life is so important with your comeback because it makes it very easy. You have, like Jamie says, full text, you have the instructions. You don't have to freestyle your comeback.
Yeah.
You know what you need to say, you know what you need to do, there's ways to go about it. You just follow those steps. Once you all rise with the Almighty. Going forward, what can I do?
You know, we always touch on this, regardless again, what you're looking is having that foundation of faith.
100%. Very grounding.
That's grounding, and that actually, makes you feel
Gives you a strong foundation.
exactly. Because what we do today, empathy is out, compassion is thrown away. It's that don't care attitude with lots of capital that kind of doesn't exist. And you wonder that why, who is this one? Why is this one? It's not the parent because they grew up the right way, but change.
The era in which they're born. So, like the normal song says, I'll do it my way. We say, do it God's way.
True, exactly. How can young people set goals for 2026 that are realistic and meaningful, not just kids?
Social media when I think it's important to try to push forward and look at yourself as I mean it's important to have goals, you are needed to move towards the future in a certain way. But as I said, also be honest with where you are at. If let's just say you have a goal to fly a rocket ship, but you've never really driven a car, and that's an example of maybe being realistic. But if you've never driven a car, maybe your goal could be to get your license in order to drive that car. So I think being realistic is really, really one of them. But also don't be afraid to shoot the stars. I always say, why shoot the stars when there's no universe out there? But like I said, if you're trying to shoot for the stars, you're not going to land in the ocean. That's where being realistic comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah. Aim small, miss small. That's my
I
favorite.
like that. I
Aim
like
small,
that.
miss small. When we were golf, we used to play golf as a junior. So hit targets. If you aim for the hole and don't hit the hole, you miss. I think being realistic, yes, is one of them. Being honest about how much time you actually have. A lot of people like to set ambitious goals, but you work a 9 to 5. You can't do those goals on your 9
Time
to
goes to the gym. Try to kill myself.
5. So you need to make sure from 5 to 9 you've got something going. You have the adequate time. Make sure it's timed, make sure it's reasonable, and also prioritize rest. If you don't rest, you're not going to have the energy to achieve targets. Really. You can go 24 hours or so without rest before you release.
Give us a round of applause. They've been amazing.
Michelle, one piece of advice for the year entering 2026, feeling stuck, lost, or unsure.
Everybody involved with that.
Do it God's
I like it.
Go
I
right
like
back.
it.
Go right back to basics. Life is not easy. You're going to go through confusing time. Put all that nagging that your parents are doing, you just go back to basics. Do God's way. That is the only way.
Give them a restrictions, seek out parents. A quick one. Someone told me a story that his wife always used to, it took a joke kind of story. Always used to fight with him, and then I think she went to some priest, and after that, he went to fight back to the husband. Why? Because the priest told her every time you fight back, chew gum, don't talk.
Wow.
Jamie,
I'll
quick
take
one.
that.
Jamie, I think all over now. Jamie, quick one. Same thing. What piece of advice for the youth in 2026 who's feeling stuck, lost, unsure for the next year?
Way, folks,
Actually, this is about the other way. So don't try to reach the impossible over the impossible. Sorry, but rather change the way that you see the possible. Because I feel like sometimes we can use courage to see that we have to do the impossible. But realize that this is a possibility that you have and this is what you see yourself. I would say don't restrict yourself. There's so much out there for you, and like my mom said, the way that life is being today, it might not look that way tomorrow. Self-belief will get you so far.
And quick one from you,
There's a song by this guy. He's a local artist. It's called One Day at a Time. His name's Kiddo. But I got it. Keep it pushing. One day at a time. One day. Just take it. Take it.
I love
Take it one day at a time.
One day at a time. Again,
It's one day at a time.
as we wrap up tonight's edition of Youth Frequency, I'd like to send out a big thank you to our team, our tech team behind the scenes, right behind me, right here in this little small office. Truly, we couldn't do this truly without you and Team Up in Studio. And a special shout out as well to our amazing in-studio convoy which we have every week. That's Jamie, Liam, and Namibia Michelle. Thank you for the insight, the honesty, and of course the great vibe you bring into the studio tonight and to everyone's homes right now. As we step into 2026, maybe a year of better choices, stronger intentions, healing from past mistakes, and powerful comeback. May the Almighty, the Understand, guide our steps, protect our hearts, and bless us with growth, clarity, and purpose in the year ahead. From me, Samaya Khan, Zaka, thank you for tuning in, engaging, and being part of the Youth Frequency family. Until next time, stay safe, stay grounded, and keep striving.
Lovely one.
New Sumea. New Sumea. 2026 New Sumea.
Do you enjoy the show?
You made it.
Because I'm part of the youth. I'm still young.
Yes, I
Even
love
though I'm
it.
26.
So we're doing this.
Solid. Always.
See you.
Bye.
Oh, yeah.